Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer.com. Today we're taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 bike rack here on our 2018 Kia Sedona. It's going to be a platform style bike rack holding the bike in these trays and primarily by this frame cradle up here with a strap around the frame. Frame contact is going to mean we want to avoid carbon frame bikes because it can damage the frame, but with the way these cradles do rotate 360 degrees, slide up and down, kids bikes, alternative frame bikes, those should be just fine. Now it does have a 35-pound weight capacity per bike, so just make sure you're staying within those limits. And one thing I did want to point out right away with our specific bike setup here is that we are getting contact with the handlebars on the back glass of the Sedona here. This is not something that I would personally drive with because you're going to get a little movement from the bike while you're driving, and having that already touching the window, and I just wouldn't want that. So if your bike at home has handlebars that are 15 inches from the center here to the end of the handlebar or longer, I would avoid this rack. That's how long ours are. It's a pretty wide handlebar. So if you've got some that are narrower, you should be fine. But I just wanted to point that out right off the bat because that's something that would be a concern to me. Now, we'll get the bike unloaded here so we can get a closer look at the rack itself. To do that, we've got two straps, one on each wheel. We'll release those by pressing in on these gray buttons and pulling the ratcheting strap out. These are just the secondary points of contact helping to hold the bike down and stabilize it. And the primary method of holding it, is this strap right here around the frame. That's what's holding it upright, so make sure you are careful when you're undoing this, that you've got a somewhat hold on the bike itself to help steady it. And then we can get that rotated around. And again, because this is a really tight fit, it's going to be a little awkward, and I'm going to try to do it in a way that doesn't hurt the vehicle here. There we go. Now, otherwise, for a bike that fits normally, this would be actually pretty easy to unload because we can just kind of lift it up and over that center mast. And because the mast doesn't stick up an insane amount, it's actually pretty easy to work around. There's tons of other bike racks out there that have a very large center mast that make loading and unloading very difficult. Now, I always like to replace these wheel straps here just so they're out of the way. And then I like to fold down the center mast here. We'll do that by undoing this hand knob, flipping this plate back, and just folding the mast down. I always like to take that strap and just wrap it around the tray, and that's going to secure it for us when we're going down the road. Now, because the bike rack doesn't have any tilting features, this is the way we would get access to the back hatch. So if you needed to change your shoes before or after a ride, this is how you would do it, or just get to the back. You've got plenty of room here to work. You just can't do it with the bikes loaded. With it like this, we want to take some measurements. We've got that reversed U-shaped design, giving us 17 inches of ground clearance at the back end here, which is a good amount. I don't think we'll have too many issues with bottoming out, but just watch out for steep driveways and hills. It does stick out a fair bit too, adding 37.5 inches to the back of the van. If we have bikes unloaded though, we can save some of that space by folding it up. We've got a clip right down near the hitch, as well as a threaded hand knob that I'll undo on the other side. Once that's out, we can fold the rack upright, reinsert that threaded hand knob through the newly aligned holes, and secure it with the clip on the other side. This is great if you want to leave your bike rack in the hitch between bike rides, and here it'll only take up 11 inches of space from the back bumper to the back of the rack. That threaded pin right here actually also acts like an anti-rattle device, keeping the pivot point really solid here, as opposed to some other racks that it has a really shaky pivot point. It is working with our 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube here, and comes with a locking anti-rattle bolt, keeping everything in the hitch solid and secure as well. And if you're looking for a really good entry-level platform style rack that's going to check a lot of boxes such as the lock, the anti-rattle, everything like that, this is a great option. I do miss the tilting feature personally, but for a lot of people that's not a huge deal breaker, especially if you're not traveling long distances with your bike rack. You probably just don't need it. Otherwise though, it's going to be a great fit for the Sedona here. Thanks for watching.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.